Hello, UW parents and families. We are back with episode 2 of season 3 of our Husky Huddle Up podcast series. I am Zach Fairchild, your Associate Director of Parent and Family Programs, and I am here with my wonderful colleague, Emily Colby. Emily, how are you today?
I am so great, Zach. It's such a beautiful day outside. Summers are so awesome. I have had my coffee. So, yeah, no, I'm super excited to talk with our guest today. And I am, as Zach mentioned, Emily Colby, Director of First Year Curriculum Engagement and First Year Programs.
Awesome. And we have one of my most favorite colleagues I've met on campus so far as our guest today from our UW Visitor Center. We have Rebecca Anzalone, and I will let you introduce yourself. Rebecca, how are you?
I'm doing great also. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Emily, for having me today. It's a Seattle Wednesday, which means it might be overcast, it might be sunny, but either way, we're on this beautiful campus and we're happy to have everybody come and see the University of Washington. So happy to talk about myself, of course. That's what we're here for. So, as Zach mentioned, I am
Yeah.
Rebecca Anzalone. I use she, her, hers pronouns. I was born in Stockton, California, and moved to Washington in 1992. I graduated from Mountain Terrace High School in 1998. So I'm kind of a local, or at least one of those California transplants. But either way, either way, I love Washington State. So it wasn't a surprise when I decided to pursue environmental science and resource management at the UW. How I got there was kind of a funny story, though. So back then, the degree was part of the College of Forest Resources, and I happened to be taking a linguistics class in Anderson. And as I was standing outside waiting to get in, there was this poster, and it said, "Do you like this, this, and this?" And I was like, "I do like those things." So
Yes,
The
yes,
power
yes.
of marketing. I love
so
that.
yeah, no, I went right downstairs into the advisor's office and I was like, I would like to be part of this major, please. I had recently been rejected from a capacity constrained major, so I could have felt very lost, but I was very fortunate to find community amongst my forestry friends. And then later, when I returned to the University of Washington, I really wanted to continue that mindset of community and helping others. And so the visitor center just really felt like a natural fit. And I've been the manager here for the last year and a half. I already loved campus, and when you're passionate about something, it's easy to talk about. And of course, I'm always happy to tell people where my favorite tree on campus is.
Ooh,
Wait, I feel
yes.
like you just gave us a hook right there. Are we allowed to talk about this now, or is this
Yeah,
our
no, go for it. Yeah,
wrap up?
no.
What's your favorite tree on campus?
Yes, my favorite tree is the Sequoia sempervirens across the street from Anderson. So that's the California redwood, one of the big sequoias. And I used to literally give it a hug when I was like on my way to class. I love that tree. It's right there in between the medicinal herb gardens, and it's just so beautiful with that big spongy bark and those beautiful long needles. So yeah, favorite tree for sure.
Oh my gosh, the way that you described that just now, I could like picture it. And as a Pacific Northwest native, of course, I love a good sequoia. But like saying the long neat, like, are you a writer also?
No, I mean, it comes from, that forestry background because you gotta learn to do
Okay, all
tree
right, that's a great
identification.
description.
Sure, yes, yes.
Now, if we see all the people going to hug the tree, I already took my morning walk around campus, but I'm excited tomorrow to go say hi to the tree. And if we see you hugging it, we know that you've listened to this podcast
Take a
as well.
selfie, post it on our social media, and we'll let Rebecca know you went by.
But yeah, no, I mean, and definitely one of the, people are often looking for different ways to explore campus. So there is the Brockman Tree Tour that you can take to is a different way to explore campus and see the beautiful trees that we have on this campus too.
Now, would people find those tour times and how to do the tours on the website, or where would they go to find info about it?
For the Brockman Tree Tour, I would just go to the University of Washington website, put it in the search tool, and that one's a self-guided one, so you can do it anytime.
Oh, so you'll get a map, and okay, that sounds great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, our website's pretty great. It's just like Google.
I want to give Rebecca a big shout out because I first met Rebecca in the spring because she was working with all of the volunteers for Admitted Student Day. And so it was such a pleasure to get to work with her and just all of the encouragement during that day. And so if for families listening, you attended a mid-student day. Rebecca was such a huge part of that. And so, as a follow-up question, can you talk a little bit about your role and what do you do in the visitor center?
Yeah, I'm happy to talk about the visitor center, and then really, like, I'm kind of just here to be a cheerleader for the student staff and our office and our campus. So it's really the space that kind of is the star, and the students are, what makes it so special. The visitor center is currently on the ground floor of Odegaard, and has existed in some iteration since the late 90s. It's been on campus, slightly off campus, over by Schmitz Hall. It's been part of external affairs, but now it's part of university marketing and communications underneath UW Advancement. We are part of the branding and marketing team, so it makes sense that our office acts as an entry point for all visitors coming to UW. We provide information, directions, and publications to prospective students and their families, as well as serving current UW student, staff, and faculty populations, and pretty much just anyone visiting UW or Seattle in general. And of course, I'm always happy to answer questions about UW, but really, in truth, our visitors want to hear from student staff. Visitors want to know what the real Husky experience is like, and who better to answer those questions than current UW students? So, like I said, I think in this way, our office is very successful. I can't tell you how many times I've heard grateful parents and prospective students after engaging with our staff as they relate sincere stories about what it's like to live, eat, study, and more on the Seattle campus. During summer quarter, there are less events happening on campus, but that doesn't mean campus is quiet, as there are still summer camps and conferences taking place all over campus. And as soon as we get closer to autumn quarter, our office definitely gets incredibly busy as we're helping new Huskies find their place at UW.
Do you have a favorite season on campus?
Um, I won't lie, my least favorite season is winter. Um, and that's just maybe that I don't feel like that's a hot take, because anybody who's been in Red Square in November
Oh
knows
my
exactly
goodness.
what I'm talking
Yes.
about. Like, my shoes are always wet, type of situation. But like my gosh, that's a tough question, because every season really has something special about it. With fall, it's students are coming back to campus. Campus just really just like brightens up and just becomes like such a vibe, and it's so great to be here, and everyone's so excited, and it's all that new stuff. Winter quarter, campus can't be beat when it's snowing. It's just gorgeous. I don't know if you saw that TikTok last year of the coyote playing with the snowman in Denny Field, but I just mean there are things that are happening all over this campus that are just so fabulous. Of course, spring, like there's the cherry blossoms, and our office blows up with visitors wanting to know, are they in bloom? When do the cherry when do the cherry blossoms close?
Do
People,
they go to
do
sleep?
they go
Do
to
the
sleep at
cherry? Yeah.
night? Yes. So definitely lots of questions about that. But I think that for anybody who's lived in Washington for a long time, those summer sunny days really just are so gorgeous. From the visitor center, we can see the Space Needle. We often can see the seaplanes like flying as they're landing. And it's just such a gorgeous perspective. And being in the middle of campus on these sunny days, it's so great to see students lounging out on the grass, just having like outdoor study groups, all the things. So summer is my favorite.
Do you, thinking about people visiting during certain seasons, do you have general tips for people visiting campus? We're a big campus. Are there things that you should be, or like unpredictable weather, rain on Red Square? I know when you were talking about shoes in the rain on Red Square, yeah, that made me think about, yeah, for those who have never visited, what advice
I
would you
mean,
give them?
is it self-serving to say to stop by the visitor center? um,
Mm-mm.
yes,
No,
yes,
please
yes.
do. Tell us about like, oh yeah, like when you get on campus,
Sure,
how do we
yeah.
find
No,
you?
I think
And
that's
yeah,
actually another part of what makes the visitor center so convenient and helpful, is that We are located right above the Central Plaza garage, so it's super easy. If you just park inside the garage, you can take the elevator right up to the ground floor. That's where our office is. We're open Monday through Friday. Our summer hours are 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. We always want people to come and visit. Certainly a lot of what we're doing is telling people how to get from point A to point B, and we're happy to help people find what they need, the person they're looking for, get to the hub for a campus tour, all the things. But we really also want to just kind of like help you explore and dig in deep at the University of Washington. Are you curious about psychology? Can we point you toward Guthrie? Are you a biology student? Have you been to the greenhouse? Just really those kind of like great next step questions that we like to ask to really just make everybody feel like they have a place at the University of Washington. And I think for like tips for visiting campus, I think, yes, like you mentioned, Emily, flexibility in weather. It's not uncommon for things to be overcast in the morning and then hot in the afternoon or for an afternoon shower. I think comfortable shoes for sure. Our campus is very large, and it is lovely to walk, but sometimes can take a little bit longer than you expect it to get to where you want to. I know that a lot of people will use Google Maps to get around campus, and sometimes that can send you for an extended trip to where you need to be. So that's why I like to definitely recommend, just stopping by the visitor center. We're happy to get you a campus map, get you a welcome guide, to highlight some places where you can visit and how to get there.
That reminds me of my first couple of weeks on campus because I was using a map app, and to not be named, I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus, but it didn't go well. I ended up in some places maybe I wouldn't have seen had that not
Right?
happened,
Well,
though.
I
So in
love how you found the
retrospect,
silver lining in that right there.
To that point, though, Zach, I saw on the UW subreddit, like, a first year student was asking, how do I find my way around? And the best advice I think that they were given was to get lost. And I think that like exploring campus is the easiest way to find things on campus. And then also just be curious. There are so many, like, I don't know if enough people go down to South Campus. Like, there are those benches that are out there along the cut that are just gorgeous. The fisheries building, like all those things that are down there, they're just really cool. And again, like North Campus, like Denny Field, like it's just so lovely just to when you see the entire field is just students like hanging out in the sun. To me, that's peak college.
Hmm.
yes, absolutely. And I think that's the fun thing about our campus too, even as a staff person, is like we have a Gothic walk tour. Like there's so many different things. And our office manager, who is just fantastic, has offered a bell tower tour. And so we get to go in the bell tower and see all the stuff and the whole thing. So I'm super excited about that. But yeah, there's so many things on campus, and tell your husky to get lost in a nice way because they'll find
Right?
some really
No,
cool
and I'm
things. But
literally taking notes down too because I've
I
never
know, me
heard
too.
of this Gothic walk. Yeah, I was reading a book the other day, and I will not name drop the name of the book, and also because I can't remember it right now. But reading that, in terms of advice for college students, and one of the things was to make sure to take time for yourself and to spend time. Leave the cell phone, leave the electronics, and just to find a quiet space or go for a walk. And I think as we're talking, just the amazingness of our campus where there are so many spaces. We talk about connecting with your community, and there's so many different communities to connect with, but also the importance of place and space and where we're situated too.
Yeah, and just tying this back to our first episode about mental health and well-being. These are
Mm-hmm.
all important things. Your huskies need to take breaks. They need to take walks. They need to get outside. They need to move their bodies and their brains, and that's an active part of being successful in college. So I think that's a good point to make. And just a
Um,
reminder for all of us: get out there and
yeah.
get lost.
Well, and I love too that you mentioned the counseling center because they're one of our favorite campus partners too. We're certainly here to help prospective students and their families, but we definitely, we're in such a great spot because we're right next to By George Cafe. We're down the hall from the Husky Card office, and so we also want to make sure that we're providing resources for current students as well. And one of my favorite things was last year during dog days, we had 4 days in a row, one first year student came back to ask questions. And I just felt that made me feel so good about our office, that they felt like they were welcome. They knew that we were a resource. They weren't intimidated. They knew that, like, if they needed help, that we were there for them. And and then I feel like I saw them later in the school year too. And it just made me so happy to see huskies really wanting to come to our office. We have a nice little seating area with some comfy chairs, so students are always welcome to come in and sit, and, like, maybe if they need to ask some questions from current students about, like, where's the undergraduate advising office, which hopefully they know, but um those type of things, or like where the technology learning center is. So we're definitely here to help current students too. And we also usually have candy. And sometimes we often have small pieces of swag. So you might be able to find a sticker, yes, or something like that in our office too. So it's always fun to just stop by and see what's going on in our office. Just even if you're already know your way around campus, it's a great way to make friends too.
I will also say, and I know you mentioned this early on in the podcast about your amazing student workers, but every time I've been in your space, I feel so welcome. They are more than smiling. They are like gracious to have you come through the door and help you. And I just want to piggyback on that, is that you really, you hire well.
Thank you. But I think that really just speaks to, how great UW students are, and we all have our own path and we all have our own story. And, like I told you mine and how I ended up in forestry, and so that's, I think, like, I like to rem- remind my student staff that, that there are so many resources here. You just have to find them. And that's what our office is here for as well, and so I think it helps the student staff as well, because as they're helping other students, they find out things for themselves.
How large is your student staff? Well, and I guess I'll add on too in terms of professional staff members too. Like, how big is the visitors center? And as compared to the whole University of Washington.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I am the manager, and Courtney Coster is that's who we report to. So, director of branding and marketing. But typically, our student staff, it's like we'll have 2 to 3 students during the summer, and then during the school year, we'll have like 4 to 6 students. In the past, they've had up to 10 student employees, and certainly, like, we're hoping as we're getting busier that we can get to that space too. That we're so busy that we always have 2 students on staff.
That's great. Every time I've been there, there's always somebody there, and um, it's my first year on campus, and I will say it's a nice resource to have, especially during times, and a lot of us are on small teams. Uh, but when folks are looking for swag, so families, if you're looking for swag and we're not available in our office, Rebecca and her team have some parent and family swag over there as well.
We do, yes. Yeah, no, during last week's campus tours, when it was particularly hot, we were encouraging people to take those mom and dad fans, like, so they could stay cool.
I just brought 4 more boxes to the Welcome Center. So, folks, if you're on campus and you go to the Welcome Center, your mom and dad fans are there.
Yes. And we don't discriminate. We also welcome all dogs at the visitor center. So you can also find outside of our office, we have a UW branded dog water bowl. So your dogs are welcome to stop by and get something to drink if they need it too.
Well, I remember, Rebecca, you were so great about when I stopped by the last time telling me, because it was during a specific time period. Oh, was it? And now I'm forgetting, but where Dubs was, that you always knew, and so thank you, because I love Dubs as well, and so that you were so great in saying
Dubs is the
Dubs.
bestest boy, 100%. And so we have our paws crossed that Dubs will stop by too.
I'm super curious because we talked about, some of the reasons that people come in. Do you have like your top questions ranked, or what are the questions that you get over and over again in your area?
Definitely the most popular question is how to get to the hub. And that's, like I said, we collaborate with a lot of different wonderful partners, and the Office of Admissions is 100% one of our other favorites. And we're, here to provide the additional like resources for prospective students. We certainly help students sign up for tours as well. A lot of times people will just be on campus and they're like, oh, do you have any tours available today? So we're really here to kind of just provide that additional support for the Office of Admissions and then get people to the Husky Union building, which is where tours start from. And oh my gosh, one of our students, so outside of the hub is a bronze husky statue, and that's how we will tell people like, like look out for that statue so you know you've gotten to the right place. And one of our previous students, so sweet and so hilarious, she told parents that they needed to pet the statue to open the door. And then I was like, how many people are trying to open this door by petting this dog? But still, so sweet. Families loved
So
it.
you really don't have to pet the
No,
statue,
no,
okay.
not
Just
at all.
checking.
You
Okay.
can walk right
Okay.
in. Yes. Um, Hilariously, the other most popular question has got to be, where's the Husky Card office? Which, even though they're just down the corridor from us, like, there's something maybe that's just extra welcoming about the visitor center, and so people want to come into our office. But the Husky Card office is just down the corridor from us, so that is the number two most asked question. And then also hilariously, probably the third most popular question is, where are the microwaves? And those are located right across from our door. So if you're looking for microwaves on campus, there are some on the ground floor of the right across from the visitor center.
So we got microwaves, Husky Card office. We're gonna pat the statue, hug the tree. I have all of my tips for the day.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us. Well, what would you say is your most memorable experience since starting at the visitor center? What's been the one
I
thing
love
that
that
like sticks
question.
out to you as like, gosh, this is why I'm here? If there is one.
So no,
There's probably
that's it.
many.
No, that's it. Yes, no. So I love this question about like the best moment at the visitor center, because I have what I would consider like my favorite story to tell about the visitor center. But really, at the end of the day, like I think like when I was a student at UW, like I would have wished to have been a student for the rest of my life. And I feel like, that's basically like what my job is like, I mean, I might not be a student, but I get to be in this like higher education setting for the rest of my life, and I get to be around students, and like the things that students are doing now, like the research, just like the additions to what majors are being offered at the University of Washington now, in the time since I was graduated. I just like I believe in the impact that UW is making, and and I think that I get to sit and kind of like watch it happen, and not everyone is fortunate enough to see it because we're all busy and doing our jobs and stuff like that. And I think that because I have that connection to the students through the student staff, they share with me what's going on. And it is my job to really just be aware of what's happening at the university. And I try so hard. Of course, one person in one office can't know everything. And I really try to remind my students of that too. But I just really, UW is special, and we are unique, and we are impactful, and we are boundless.
Oh my goodness. I feel like I just want to like pause and be in the moment of that response because
Exactly. Yeah.
I know. I'm like, oh, I could ask you about, events and what and all this, but I think honestly to just sort of sit and like thank you so much for sharing that, because and your sentiment about, that it's impossible for one person to know everything, and at the same time the power of building those connections, or the way that you are impacting the students in your office, or the way that when someone comes in, if you don't know the answer, being able to like, well, let's look together, like, now then you get to learn something. And I just so appreciate your talking about building these connections, and again, really the impact of your office and working with your students.
I'm also happy to share my fun story.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yes.
Just because I think you two might find this entertaining. But as a visitor center, like I said, we're that entry point for the University of Washington, and so if you don't know where else to go, you might come here. And that is what happened one day when a Secret Service member turned up at our office, and he flashed his badge. And I asked to see it a second time because how often do you get to see a Secret Service badge? And there was a visiting dignitary that wanted to come and tour the campus, and he was doing the pre security walk, and he needed to speak to somebody at the University of Washington about making that happen. And he's like, I didn't know where else to go, so I went to the visitor center.
Are you allowed to share who the visiting dignitary was?
I um I don't know. But I think that I can tell you that one of my students later told me that they saw that it was somebody from Tonga.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Cool. No, thank you for that, and thank you for your service and
Yeah, thank you. I don't. As soon as you said Secret Service, my leers like physically moved upwards. I was like, "What? Tell us
Right?
more."
Yeah. So I know. And so right, and so but like that's and that's what I tell my students. A lot of it is those same questions, like I was saying earlier, but sometimes it's stuff like that, or maybe it's somebody from a filming crew because there's something being filmed at the University of Washington. So really just a wide breadth of questions, opportunities, experiences. So I think it's fun. I enjoy the challenge of trying to know what's happening at the University of Washington at all times. It certainly keeps me active, that's for sure.
Keeps us on our toes. We're also one of those offices where I feel like I've been here 6 months now, but I feel like I have to know everything because we get a range of questions. I mean, our parents and families want to know what's going on, so we need to know what's going on. But there's a lot. There's a lot. And so it's kind of like, how am I digesting this? Am I remembering everything? Am I organized enough to have all of this going on? And it's a nice reminder when you hear other colleagues say it too, because there's a lot going on. There's so many opportunities across campus and beyond.
So I just really encourage, other units and departments and centers, all the things to like collaborate with us because, we're always so happy to promote what you're doing and talk about your programs. Sustainability was having a couple of workshops, so they sent us over, a PDF and we put it up in our window. So just we're here to support everybody who's part of the UW community.
Do you have recommendations for resources? We talked a little bit about Google Maps before, and searching the website. But yeah, do you have top tools or resources that either you use or students use when you're answering questions?
Yeah, we definitely the campus directory is there, and there's a lot of units are listed there, and so it is it's got sometimes a website, sometimes a phone number, sometimes an email. So that's helpful. Like the office directory, this and the staff directories are also helpful. But really, the University of Washington website, like you mentioned earlier, is basically like a little Google, and so the more we use the search function of that website, the better that website's going to be. And so I really just encourage people to use the UW website. It's easy to use a search engine otherwise to try and find information, but I know our web team has just done a great amount of work to like really put a lot of resources on the website. And so, like, I know parent and family website's amazing. I am often on there also like just so I think that I would really just encourage people to use the UW website.
Yeah, I sure do. As a newbie, I love that. I love that search bar.
Yes.
Love me a good
Yeah.
search.
Yeah. No, yeah, right. No, and I had to do, and then just for the search bar is relatively new. Or sorry, the search engine is new. So that's again, it's just helpful to keep using it so it can kind of get some muscle. But I had to spend some time looking at other university websites, and really just UW just blows other websites away just because there's just so much information. And like, I mean, like some schools, it's like one page, and I'm like, oh my God, I was trying to mail something to a university on the East Coast, and there's just one address for the entire university. And I was like afraid to send the mail because I just didn't believe it was going to actually get to where it was supposed to be.
And we promise we're not just saying this because we're UW employees.
Yes.
Exactly. I feel bad for the folks in their mailing department because that seems like a lot of work. Well, Rebecca, I just want to thank you again for taking the time today to be here with us and to share all these amazing resources and about your journey. And I just want to reiterate what Emily was saying earlier, such a fantastic colleague as a volunteer on Admitted Student Day as well. Like that was such a fantastic experience. And yes, parents and families, we may have recruited Rebecca for Fall Family Weekend. So if you join us for Fall Family Weekend and you see Rebecca out there, say hello. Um, and oh my gosh, you all, I just lost my brain here because I got so excited. But I wanted to circle back
Oh, yeah.
and connect one last thing that I think is really important, especially, as I'm getting more into my role and creating my campus partners across the university and building our resource pipeline and all those things. I really just want to reiterate how amazing it is to work with colleagues who have the intentionality behind the work that they're doing. They care about the impact. Their values align with the work that we're doing. And you said all those keywords today, and you gave so many examples. And I just want to share that that is an amazing experience to work with folks alongside them all across our campus, but especially at a place like the Visitor Center, where you're that frontline, welcoming, kind of know-all, catch-all place. You just have to be kind of prepared for everything. And the way you're able to stay so organized with us on a mid-student day is it's just so impressive. So I just want to share with everybody. In my short time, you're one of my top go-to people on campus.
Rebecca, I'm super curious because I know we asked you a whole bunch of questions, some that you probably knew we were going to ask, and some that I don't even know where they came from.
They came out of nowhere.
Was there something that we didn't ask and you were really excited to share or talk about during this time too?
I did forget to mention our website, and I'll just throw that out there really quickly because it's so easy, and it's just uw.edu/visit. So really easy to find. I think other than that, like I really just want to, encourage people to come by. And I feel like the more we engage with current UW community, the more that we can make this the place that we all want to be.
Well said.
Thank you. I know it's that we over me for Washington for the world, all the things.
I love it. I love it. You could tell that you're one of the people that talk to a lot of folks because the boundless, like all the terms earlier, I was like, yes, 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 that's us.
Right? And like I feel the meaning behind it too, which is and similar to Zach in that I've only been here a short time, and just really really appreciate this conversation, and again the connection to the space and the people. No, thanks for this. So energizing.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I definitely, I mean, Zach is one of my favorites also. Like, and Emily, I loved working with you and Leanne. You two were so joyful when you came into our office. And yeah, that was such a great experience for me too on Admitted Student Day, just having staff come to the visitor center. Helen Garrett, the university registrar, she was like, I have been on this campus for 19 years and I have never been in this office. And it was so wonderful to really just make that connection with somebody who has such a deep impact at the UW.
Oh, wow. Helen is also, one of my favorite people on campus too. And again, as we all get to connect within departments, and you had talked about university structures that I think are sometimes sort of hidden, are hidden to students and families. But yeah, it's so great to get to work with you all. Okay, I feel like...
And you're meeting Secret Service agents? Like, come on.
I know.
I'm going to come and hang out in your space for a couple days and see what happens. Yeah. Oh, that's incredible.
Well, and then too, we definitely do, like, we'll also get, like, people who want to know where the president's office is and stuff like that too, and so I'm just like Gerberding, and that's as close as I get.
There's a level
We
of
are just
secrecy.
across Red Square. Exactly. I am in Gerberding, and we do also get folks coming in asking where the visitor center is. Like, oh, you're just across. Just across.
Yeah. Did you know that Gerberding I think I already told you this, Zach, but Gerberding has some of the only real gargoyles on campus on that building.
Is that part of the Gothic Walk?
It's the because like the real gargoyles are actual pour spouts to drain the water away from the building so it doesn't do like damage to the building. And so when you look at Gerberding way up top, they have those little guardians up there.
It's really cool. Oh, some of our offices are up there, and I was able to go out on like the little patio veranda area, and like you're so close you could almost touch one. I was like, oh my gosh, this is the closest I've been to a real gargoyle in my entire life. It's really an incredible campus. I mean, there is so much beauty in just the stuff we walk by every day. And so taking those little moments again, it's just a nice reminder to do some self-care and learn something and see some really cool stuff.
Zach, you were doing such a good job of wrapping us up, and then I started us all over again. Okay, but let's see, as we do this, what are the things that we need to make sure to remind families about?
Continue to sign up and attend our family orientation sessions happening on Thursdays throughout the summer. And I know
we look forward to seeing you.
We look forward to seeing you. And I know we've gotten some questions. So if you're listening and you haven't done a session yet, and maybe you signed up and missed one, or signed up and you can't go to that session, the Zoom links on the website are going to stay consistent throughout the summer. So you can feel free to go in and join any of the days that you're able to go. So feel free. You can message us and we'll let you know that, or just feel free to hop on anytime that you're available. And then, if there's anything else coming up for folks, especially our new folks, hop on that Facebook group if you're not on that. We've got plenty of resources, and our next podcast is going to be with our housing and food service folks about all the perks and rec stuff that we offer.
This sounds great.
All year long.
Perfect. Well, it's been so lovely. I know, right? These conversations are so great. Thank you both. Thank you, Rebecca, for your time. I know that this is time out of your day when you could be working with your students and greeting families and students. So just really appreciate the conversation.
Thank you so much. And I hope everybody comes and says hi to us at the visitor center.
Oh, we will make sure they do.
Right. And I will look forward to our next Husky Huddle Up podcast.
Yes, everybody, we will see you next time. Let us know how we can help. We're always here. Take care.
The Husky Huddle Up podcast series is a collaboration between the University of Washington's first-year programs and parent and family programs to provide parents and families equitable access to information in support of the Husky success. The Husky Huddle Up podcast is produced by me, Chloe Giselle, a recent graduate from the UW who received a Bachelor's of Arts through the Cinema and Media Studies program.